TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN4, Brian Hayes, Jamie Noodles McLennan, and there he is again, Jonas Siegel of The Athletic. I love it. How we feeling? How we feeling?
Jonas. Oh, wow. I got something for Jonas right off the hop.
Let's do it.
Are you happy about your boy Juan Soto?
Hayes was asking me yesterday. It's like a victory lap for me. I feel like $800 million richer.
Yeah,
Feel
you
great.
Personally pumped his tires to the point where Steve Cohen said, I have to have this guy. Jonas Siegel believes he's the greatest hitter in the history of the game. I'll pay him whatever the price is.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
I hope you're getting 10%. Or at least
I'm a Mets fan now. Like that's what it is.
You're willing to flip. So you're more of a Juan Soto fan than you are an individual club team. Is that how you operate as a sports fan?
I've always kind of been that way, actually.
I've never understood that. You're not alone.
Tell me.
Because there's a lot of different people I've met, especially in this industry, and I understand in the industry it's a different world.
Yeah.
Because, you're covering teams, you see the sports world kind of behind closed doors, under the hood, and it makes you feel a little bit different, myself included. I am a different sports fan today than I would have been 15 years ago. But I have heard people say that. I think Dave Naylor might classify as one of these guys. Fans of individual players, but no teams. Like there isn't one team.
That's me.
I don't get that, Noodles. I gotta get you a team for Christmas. Can I get you a team, please?
No, because it's better. And I want you both to weigh in on this. I think it's better with the job that I have to do. Okay, I call Ottawa Senators games. I follow the Leafs. I've watched every second they play. I'm from Edmonton. All my buddies grew up and Oiler fans. Struddy's one of my best friends. I used to play for the Flames. The godfather of my son is the vice president of the team. So I have lots of reach throughout. One of my best buddies is in management in Florida. So you've got like all these situations throughout the league. So I like players. I'm happy for people when they have success. It was weird watching Edmonton and Florida in the finals because I had friends on both sides. And, you're kind of like you're talking to one person on the Edmonton side going, yeah, you guys are making it back in there. And then you're talking to, Brian McCabe. I run into him on the street and he's like, God, I hope we get it done tonight. And I'm like, yeah, it would be great. Like, to me, I have to stay impartial. I don't, and I swear on my life, I don't have a favorite team, but I have favorite players. And you guys know Morgan Riley's one of my favorite players. I just love the guy, but I love him as a human, but I think he's an awesome player too. Yeah. You go through the league. Like I've obviously developed some friendships with some of the guys with the Senators because they, I've been around the team for 6-7 years, type of thing. So Brady Tkachuk, I get this. I know him a little bit on a personal level because I know his dad and his brother. So I honestly don't have a favorite team, but I do cheer individually for guys. I think, is that weird? Is that strange?
Listen,
I don't know.
Again, I think within the hockey world, I guess I can accept that from both of you. I don't know if I could live in that world. I have favorite players. I have players I love to watch play that are not associated with my favorite team. But I want to turn on TV and be like, now, gambling can do this, I'll admit it. That's a very degenerate comment to make. I was a big Broncos fan last night. I've never stepped foot in Denver, and I couldn't care less about them today. Now, once the game's over, I'm no longer a fan of them. But not having a dog in the fight, and putting hockey aside, like hockey, I'll grant you. But you're telling me between the two of you, there isn't one team, between Jamie McLennan and Jonas Siegel, there isn't one team, football, basketball, baseball, live golf. Are you four aces fan?
That like I ride and die with?
Yeah, F1.
No, zero.
Can you be a Ferrari guy, Jonas? Give me something.
No, zero.
Nothing.
I just like watching the best games, like watching the best teams.
That to me is crazy.
I don't have any.
That to me is
I don't
just
feel
living.
that.
You're not living.
I
you
wish
two aren't living.
I kind
You're
of
not
wish,
alive.
though I had it, because like it would be nice to kind of like be so invested in something, but I'm just not. Noodles, aren't you the same?
I am, but like I'll give you an example. I think I told you this last Christmas there, Hayes. Like my son goes, I want a Justin Herbert jersey. I'm like,
nice.
I don't even like where out of nowhere. I'm like, you even like the Chargers? Like, so I had to hunt down an NFL jersey and have this thing mailed to the house or whatever. Like, so I was like, okay, I kind of like the Chargers, but then I'm like, I don't know. Like, it just, I don't have, for some reason when it comes to NFL football, and I just had a spirited debate with my buddy Rhett Warner because he's like, well, you're in Toronto. You have to cheer for the Bills. And I said, well, I do because I think Josh Allen's amazing and, it's close proximity. But I said, I kind of liked the Patriots there for a while with Belichick because I
So
always
you're a front runner. That's what it is.
No,
Exactly.
no.
Pats
Hold
and
on a
Bills.
second here.
Okay.
Here's why I like the Patriots. Because everyone wanted to knock them off the pedestal.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, deflate gate and drone, like filming.
Spygate and
like,
So you felt bad for them,
Spygate,
all that winning.
So
Empathizing
I
with
felt,
Bill Belichick.
I felt bad for them. See, but now
Yeah,
I'm not
it's so rough.
I'm not a Kansas City. I'm not. It should be Kansas City, right? Everybody should be on that train. I'm not on that. I felt like I was because I love Andy Reid, and that video, we should pull up the video where he's like 14 years old and he looks like he's 8 feet tall against the other kids.
Because he is 8 feet tall compared to the other kids. Andrew Reid.
But I don't love Kansas City. I think
All right.
I'm just Taylor Swift out.
Listen.
I think the whole story is too much. I'm starting to believe the narrative that maybe the refs do give them the benefit of the doubt on some of these calls. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just the X narrative or whatever. I don't have a favorite team, but I kind of always lean towards, honestly, Hayes, because of you, I watch Green Bay. I do. Like,
Jump
I kind
on
of like
board,
this
man.
Jordan
Publicly
Love.
owned, right? Joe Bowen
Yeah.
would love to hear that too. The whole Bowen clan.
Yeah.
I got to get you guys
lean
a
in
team.
on a team.
I'm going to get
promise.
you
I
guys
will
a
lean
team
in.
because I don't think you're
Yeah.
living, man. I think you guys are playing it safe here.
Okay.
It
So
is.
let's put
Yeah.
it to a vote.
Let's-
You know what? Find a team for us. We can have some people write in or whatever. What would be a perfect team? Now, not hockey because I just
Take
have
hockey
I can't
out
be
of it.
biased.
Hockey's
Take hockey
out.
out of it.
Hockey's
Find
out.
me a team. Is it the Boston Red Sox? I kind of like the Yankees.
And you
there
know what?
For a while when
Noodles
I was in New
can't
York,
We'll
Red
root for them
Sox and
together.
Yankees. All right, the two of you will attach you to a team. It's got to be there's got to be some sort of parameters to it.
Yeah,
But I need you guys to join the real world. And listen, maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's more of your kind out there, right? Maybe there's more of the
Yeah.
Jonas
Okay.
and Noodles.
It's nice.
type.
Hayes, you should try it. Like, you turn off the game, you don't feel
No.
anything. It's
It
good.
reminds me, there's a famous Hunter S. Thompson quote where he asks, who is a happier man, he who has braved the storm of life and lived, or he who has stayed securely on shore and merely existed? That's you two, existing on
that's
shore.
me. I will
I'm in
say,
the
though,
storm, man. I'm riding it out, and I'm living, and I'm a happy
But
man. I
Doogie
think.
just got into my ear, and he is correct. Okay, I did have a team growing up. It was the Edmonton. Now they are called Elks.
The
Back
Elks,
then it
okay,
was
you're on board with
Eskimos,
the
but it
Elks.
was- I was because I watched them. I used to go to the games, and then I did work for. At that time, they were called the Eskimos. I worked for them during training camp every summer. I worked with Joey Moss for like 3 or 4 years.
Awesome.
Him and I were the laundry guys there
That's
for
great. Joey
training
Moss.
camp. So,
What a legend.
Oh yeah, it was. He was a beauty. But I did follow that team, and that was a team that that's
Okay.
Matt Dunnigan, that's Tracy Ham, like those
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
But
I mean,
honestly,
they were awesome. And Matt, we know who Matt is. I mean, Matt's a legend
Wow.
here now, and
I
there's,
know, but I've let them go. Strutty's still a fan of them. I've let them go. I didn't like the change to Elks. I didn't like the name. Strutty has these like elk horns that he wears. It's ridiculous. But honestly, I've let them go. But you got to find me a team, Hayes. Find
all right,
me
we will do that.
baseball,
It's
football,
coming up
you name it.
6:30. Dear Santa B is coming up, and I'm going to try to be
Yes.
handing out some gifts or some knowledge or whatever I can, and I'll try to supply you two with the perfect team to jump on board with. So that's coming up later this afternoon. Dave Cameron will join us in about 20 minutes. World Juniors got off to a good start last night. It's a pre-tournament game. It's a tune-up against Switzerland, but Easton Cowan with a hat trick. He looked good, and we'll catch up with Dave and get his take on the training camp, the cuts, the team, what he does with young players who appear to be, burgeoning superstars if they're not already. So we'll catch up with Dave in about 20 minutes. And, man, this happened quickly. We were talking Matt Murray yesterday. And not only is Matt Murray back, he's playing tonight.
I don't know what's going on.
Matt
here.
Murray's
Like you
back,
guys did.
and he's playing tonight in Buffalo.
Leafs facing center crisis amid injuries, eyeing trade market for solutions. As the Toronto Maple Leafs battle through a growing injury list and a suspension, their lack of depth at the center position has become a glaring issue. According to Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman in his latest 32 Thoughts article, the Leafs are among the teams exploring trade options to bolster their lineup. This effort is coming amid increasing competition from teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and Nashville Predators, who have also set their sights on improving their center depth. Friedman didn't mince words about the Leafs' predicament. The teams currently focusing on centers, including Chicago and Nashville, must consider when others will enter the market. Toronto will undoubtedly be one of those teams, he wrote. While the Blackhawks and Predators may have an edge in terms of cap space and assets, the Leafs remain a team to watch as the season progresses. The Leafs situation is urgent, with up to 7 forwards currently unavailable due to injury or suspension. Ryan Reeves is serving a 5-game suspension, while key players like Auston Matthews, upper body, Matthew Knies, upper body, Kaje Jarnkrok, groin/sports hernia, David Kampf, lower body, Max Domi, lower body, and Max Pacioretty, lower body, are all sidelined. The team has even considered temporarily shifting Mitch Marner to the center position, highlighting the severity of their depth issues. This isn't just a short-term concern for the Leafs. Depth at center has been a persistent challenge for the team, and while stopgap solutions like Marner could help in the interim, the front office appears keen to explore longer-term fixes. For fans of the blue and white, this has been a recurring theme. The Leafs' center depth often becomes a problem at the worst possible times. James Myrtle of The Athletic recently added more fuel to the speculation, naming several potential trade targets who could help the Leafs address their issues. Among them is Ryan O'Reilly, a familiar name for Toronto fans. O'Reilly, who signed a 4-year, $18 million deal with Nashville in 2023, might be a trade candidate if the Predators' underwhelming start to the season, 6-11-3, 31st in the league, prompts a rebuild. However, his steep price tag and history with the Leafs, including rejecting a free agency offer less than 2 years ago, make this a complex and potentially unlikely move. Other names mentioned by Myrtle include former Leaf Nazem Kadri, currently with Calgary, as well as players like Michael Granlund, Nick Jugstad, Brock Nelson, Yanni Gourde, Trent Frederic, Radek Faksa, and Sean Kuraly. While some of these options seem more plausible than others, it's clear that general manager Brad Treliving will need to get creative to find the right piece without mortgaging the team's future. Cap space remains one of the biggest obstacles for the Leafs. Unlike teams like Chicago and Nashville, which have more flexibility and assets, Toronto is walking a financial tightrope. As Friedman noted, competition will intensify as cap-constrained teams strive to create room. For the Leafs, that could mean waiting for the market to develop further, a risky move given their current needs. The situation also highlights the Leafs' ongoing struggle to build a roster that can withstand the grueling nature of an NHL season. Injuries are an inevitability in hockey, but Toronto's current predicament underscores the importance of depth, a quality the team has struggled to consistently maintain. Looking back on recent years, the Leafs have often leaned heavily on their star players, particularly Matthews, Marner, and William Nylander. While these players have delivered in spades, the lack of reliable depth options has left the team vulnerable in critical moments. The current crisis at center is merely the latest example of this recurring issue. Some fans have called for more aggressive moves from Treliving, arguing that now is the time to strike while the team's core is in its prime. Others, however, are more cautious, pointing to the dangers of overpaying for short-term fixes. Striking the right balance will be key, especially as the Leafs aim to keep their championship window open. Despite the challenges, there's no denying that Toronto has the talent to be a contender, provided they can patch up their lineup. The ongoing rumors and speculation surrounding potential trades show that the Leafs are at least exploring every avenue to strengthen their roster. For fans of the blue and white, this moment feels like a pivotal point in the season. With a lineup ravaged by injuries and a tough schedule ahead, the Leafs must act decisively to avoid falling behind in the standings. The addition of a dependable center could be the difference between weathering the storm or watching another season slip away. Whether it's O'Reilly, Kadri, or another surprise name, one thing is certain: the Leafs are under pressure to deliver. And for a fan base as passionate and loyal as Toronto's, there's no room for excuses. The time to act is now, and Leafs Nation is watching closely. As the trade deadline approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Treliving pull off a move that solidifies the Leafs' status as a contender, or will the search for center depth become yet another chapter in the team's long history of what-ifs? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, it's never boring in Leafs land. As the Maple Leafs navigate this critical juncture, their fan base remains as vocal as ever. Toronto is a city that breathes hockey, and the pressure on Brad Treliving to make the right moves is immense. Every decision he makes, or doesn't make, will be scrutinized, from talk radio to social media, where Leafs Nation is already debating the merits of the various names being floated as potential trade targets. Among the louder debates is whether the team should prioritize a high-profile acquisition like Ryan O'Reilly or Nazem Kadri, or focus on a lower-cost, reliable center who can fill a supporting role without costing too many future assets. While O'Reilly's leadership and playoff experience make him an attractive option, his contract and recent history with the Leafs add layers of complexity to any potential reunion. Similarly, Kadri's gritty, two-way playstyle remains a fan favorite, but his cap hit and availability might render him an unrealistic target. Another factor complicating the Leafs situation is their tight salary cap. While Chicago and Nashville can make moves with relative ease due to their financial flexibility, Toronto must navigate a labyrinth of constraints to make any trade work. This likely means including salary retention or moving existing contracts to make room, which could drive up the cost of any potential deal. The question then becomes, how much are the Leafs willing to sacrifice to address their immediate needs? One potential trade partner generating buzz is the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde, a dependable two-way center, has been mentioned as a possible target. Gourde's versatility and championship pedigree from his time with Tampa Bay make him an appealing option. Seattle, however, is in playoff contention and may not be inclined to part with a key piece unless the Leafs can provide a substantial return. Another intriguing name is Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders. Nelson is a consistent scorer and reliable faceoff-man, qualities that would undoubtedly bolster Toronto's center depth. However, the Islanders are notoriously cautious when it comes to trades, and prying Nelson away would likely require a significant package, including picks or prospects that the Leafs may be hesitant to part with. For all the trade talk, some analysts believe the solution might come from within. Sheldon Keefe has shown a willingness to experiment with his lineup, and players like Pontus Holmberg or Fraser Minton could be given an opportunity to step up. While relying on less experienced players carries risks, it might be the Leafs' only option if the trade market proves too costly or slow to develop. Adding to the Leafs' urgency is the timing. The Atlantic Division remains one of the toughest in the league, with teams like Boston, Florida, and Tampa Bay continuing to dominate. Any prolonged slump could see Toronto slip further down the standings, putting their playoff hopes in jeopardy. For a team with Stanley Cup aspirations, failing to address their weaknesses could have catastrophic consequences. Brad Treliving's history as a general manager suggests he's not afraid to make bold moves. His time with the Calgary Flames was marked by blockbuster trades, including the acquisition of Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in the Matthew Tkachuk deal. Leafs fans hope he brings that same decisiveness to Toronto, especially as the trade deadline looms. Beyond the immediate need for a center, this situation underscores a broader issue with the Leafs roster construction. Depth has been a perennial concern, and while Toronto boasts some of the league's top-end talent, their reliance on a handful of stars has left them vulnerable in moments like this. Moving forward, addressing this imbalance must be a priority for the front office if the team is to achieve sustained success. As the Leafs head into a critical stretch of the season, the next few weeks could define their trajectory.